Jay here, Stretford, Paddock. This is Transfers Live. Joining me, as always, is my Bezzy.
I've moved up since this afternoon.
Yes.
My best friend.
The last 4 hours, we've become best friends. Joe Smith. Joe, how are we doing? You're in the mood for some absolutely transfer-tastic news.
I am, actually. I'm also in the mood for watching Man City lose, but it doesn't look like I'm going to get that. We will keep you up to date with Manchester City's latest scores with Dortmund. Currently 1-1.
What is it you always tell me about Dortmund?
Absolute bottle jobs.
You've actually laid into Dortmund so many times about the fact that they're not that good.
They're not very good.
They never win any trophies.
No.
And
yet somehow they're basically Everton, and yet somehow they get all the best young players in the world to join them. Like, oh, come and play for Everton. No, Everton don't get to do that. No one else in Europe gets to finish 4th, 3rd, 5th, season after season, never win a league, never win a trophy, and yet still recruit the best youngsters in the world on a consistent basis. I don't know how they do it. They're basically living on fumes at this point. They're living on reputation and fumes, and it's a piss take, and it's a shambles. And Emre Can is still playing for Liverpool, and still playing for fucking whoever else. He's a piss taker. Actually, he's not even Liverpool. He's just anything to hurt Man United fans. I'm sure of it.
Emre Can.
More like Emre Can't.
Yeah.
More like, not Emre Can. I'm fuming. I'm so mad, and I'm so upset. Yeah, that's it. Emre, see you next. Well, you won't see him next Tuesday because they're out of the fucking Champions League.
Anyway, that aside.
What?
Sorry? Oh, we've just had a shout there. City scored. It's
Fantastic.
all over. Who cares anyway? The Champions League's for losers. It's all about the Europa League. Get involved in the comments. Hit that like button as well. We've got loads of transfer news to get to you. We'll be talking about Pau Torres. We're talking about RAPHAEL VARANE. Talking about some kid called Erling Haaland who's rubbish.
He's fucking shit.
Don't want him. 120 million.
Running about like a big stick of celery.
Yeah. Oh, look at me. I'm.
Oh, I'm tall and I never do it against
Dad
shit
used to
teams.
play for Leeds and give a toss. Jadon Sancho, who didn't even bother, literally didn't turn up tonight, so that tells you all you need to know about him. Declan Rice, MILINKOVIC, SAVIC, Paul Pogba, with the worst name for a documentary ever.
You'll reveal that later on.
I'll reveal that later on. He signed up for a documentary. I've got no problem with that, by the way. That's fine. Do what you got to do. But the name of it is absolute garbage.
Do what you got to do to pay the bills, Paul.
Yeah, I know you're a bit skim, mate. We understand if you want to do a little bit of a side hustle, as the children say. Nice. Press conferences. We're going to be talking about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been chatting to the press about confidence amongst the players. We know there's been this seat gate, should we call it?
Oh shit, yeah.
Yeah, where it's the seats are red, we can't see each other, so we'll get into a bit of that and you can let us know what you think. Youngster called Will Fish, who's into the first team squad. Good stuff. Dave Pritt's always talking about him, raves about him. And the usual stuff about Edinson Cavani and Eric Bailly and all that jazz. So,
loads of stuff coming up.
Loads of stuff going on to take your mind off things that don't concern us. Yeah?
Fantastic.
If you know what I mean. So we start with Pau Torres.
Yeah, go on then.
Yes. Pau Torres.
And Liverpool's still going out, by the way. Can we get an update on that? At least let Liverpool go out.
Let me have a look, because I've not been following any of the football, to be honest with you. I've just been burying my head in the sand. It's 0-0 at Anfield.
Good.
Which will be put down to the lack of, you know, the infamous Anfield or the famous Anfield atmosphere if they do go out. If you've ever been to Anfield, they sing for about 10 seconds at the beginning. After that, you'll never walk alone. Garbage. And then it's 89 minutes of silence and they chant at the end. Yeah, Pau Torres, as you can see there from the graphic, AS, which is one of the publications in Spain, claim that United have made Pau Torres their priority transfer. United will have to meet the release clause of 43 million quid to sign a 24-year-old centre-back. I mean, in this day and age, can I say...
You can't even get a Fred for that.
Literally can't get a Fred for that.
You can't even get a Fredo for that these days.
Get a Fredo for that, that's how,
anyone who's up to date on how much things
times
cost.
have changed. Yeah, I mean, £43 million, it's not bank-breaking, is it? No. And you think if we are going to get a centre-back, that's probably around what we're going to pay. Pau Torres, talented defender, good on the ball. Everyone raves about him. Are you a big fan?
Yeah, he looks to be a good player. 43 million, if he's the right player, like you said, you don't get anything for that these days. City, I think it was about that they paid for Nathan Ake. So, you know, 40 million for a centre-back, not too much. Again, it's less than we got for Fred, or less than we paid for Fred. I don't think that's a bad price at all. And if he's the right guy and he's available, obviously, if he's got a buyout clause, then he is available, then great. You know, it just depends on how they judge him amongst our current lineup of centre-backs. Because I think he's a good player. But, you know, Villarreal aren't necessarily the best team in the world, are they? So him being good for them doesn't make me say, yeah, he's definitely good enough, because he's not.
No, I know what you mean. And it's one of the, I'm going to be honest with you, it's a bit unknown for me. I've just seen what other people have been reporting about him. It's obviously highly spoken about. But, you know, is he the answer? Is he the perfect foil for Harry Maguire? Because we know Harry Maguire's not going to go anywhere. So, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what happens with that one. It does seem a more realistic target than some of the other defenders we've been linked with, because when you look at that price tag and when you look at the club he's coming from, no disrespect to Villarreal, but it's not like you can't buy players from them, then, you know, it all sounds very doable. We'll have to wait and see, though, whether that happens, because this is Manchester United and this is the Glazers, so nothing is ever quite simple as, oh, there's a good player we could probably get, we need him, let's go out and buy him. Usually it's months and months of protracted negotiations, then he goes somewhere else. That's how we sort of roll.
Tends to be the case, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Generally speaking.
Generally, like, well, he's a good player, we could get him. In fact, we could probably, you know, he's a decent price as well. Should we get him? No. No. Let's mess about. And then let's try and buy him a season later for 100 million quid.
From the team that did take a risk on him.
Or sometimes we even give him away and then buy him back. What's that? You want Paul Pogba? Yeah, you can have him. Yeah, not a problem. I'll tell you what, though. Can we have him back for 89 million quid 4 years later? Sweet. Get involved in the comments. Let us know what you think about Pau Torres. Do you think he's the answer? Is he the perfect foil for Harry Maguire? Is that a deal you want to see happen? Is that a deal you expect to see happen as well? Because he is going to have suitors, isn't he? Especially if he's got a release clause like that and he's any good. Yeah. You'd expect that there'd be a few clubs sniffing. Big clubs. Juicy clubs.
Big juicy
Don't worry about that. Nash Villa says, anything on Bailly leaving? Another former Villarreal centre-half. Eric Bailly, will have an update on him shortly, or a bit later on, I should say. Yeah, there's been a bit of, you know, there's been a few stories about Eric Bailly doing the rounds, so we'll get into that, and any other stories as well relating to contracts and players that could be going out the Old Trafford door, as well as ones coming in. Yeah, so Pau Torres, wait and see. Another centre-back we've been linked with, one who I know a little bit more about, and not a lot, is RAPHAEL VARANE.
Yes.
Now, we've spoken about him a few times. Ronnie was speaking about him. Ronaldo Brown was talking about him this morning on the paper talk outside Old Trafford. Again, it's a deal that you think could be done. 60 million quid. He's got a year left on his contract. If he doesn't sign an extension, Real Madrid might be forced to sell him. So you could see that happening. Again, though, will he come to Old Trafford? Will United pay that 60 million? Will we make this deal happen? I mean, this is a kid who, he's won it all, hasn't he? Like, however many Champions Leagues, is it 4 Champions League, 3 or 4 Champions League, the World Cup, lots of La Ligas. I mean, you can't have a better trophy cabinet or a more full trophy cabinet than RAPHAEL VARANE. Still only 27, I think he turns 20 in a couple of months. Been around for years. Fergie wanted him, that's how long he's been around. One of the most talented defenders, you could argue, over the past 10 years. But there's question marks there as to whether United will go out and spend the 60 million it would take, and whether he'd want to come to Old Trafford, to be fair.
Maybe him not wanting to come is potentially an issue there, but 60 million quid, if he can be got for that, he's only got 1 year left on his contract. So, you know, at some point, transfers do become possible. Like, you know, it's not just going to, if he had 5 years left, he's not going to leave Real Madrid for the sort of money we'd have to pay for him. But I think that is a possibility. And if he's not happy with Real Madrid, if he's not happy with how things are going there, then there's a chance that United could get him. And it's not like United is some shit team, middle of nowhere, you know, never won anything, never will win anything. Obviously, we've not won a league in some years, but we're still one of the biggest, if not the biggest club in England. And I think it's the sort of signing that United could make. And it's what would be a huge sort of landmark signing, you know, that the United could make that wouldn't cost 150 million quid. You sign RAPHAEL VARANE, you're saying we want to make our defence the best defence in the world, or we want to get one of the best defenders in the world for the last decade. That's what you're saying by doing that. You can improve a position in your team with one of the best players in the world in that position for less than 70 million quid. Yeah. For me, that's an excellent thing, and something that United might look at and go, well, we're not going to spend 150 on Kane. We're not going to spend 150 on Haaland. Let's spend 60 on Varane, and we can say we've signed one of the best players in the world in their position. So it doesn't seem impossible to me. And the fact that it keeps going, there's stories about this most weeks. We're talking about this, and there continue to be stories about this. I think it's possible.
I agree. I mean, I get where you come from there, because you look at it as well. If you've been at Real Madrid, regardless of how long it's been since United won a title or what's gone on in terms of different managers over the last 7 or 8 years, we're still one of the biggest clubs in the world. We're at that elite level where you'd have the likes of Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern Munich and Manchester United. So if you are going to leave Madrid, there's only like 3 or 4 clubs that are on that same similar sort of level, and United are one of them. So maybe it could happen. Let's wait and see. I think it's one of those where if United aggressive went after him with that kind of money, it's a deal that can be done. My main sort of reservation about it, or the reason I'm slightly sceptical, is I just don't know if this United board are going to sanction that sort of move for a player that he'd be a great signing, but I think he'd be 28 by the time he came. There's no resale value, and I always think with the Glazers, I just don't know. It's always like, are they going to invest in a player they're not going to get anything back for? I know they've done it in the past with Harry Maguire. But
yeah, but he was 26 when we signed him, and he'll be 28 by the time he ever plays for United. So there's essentially 2 years difference there, which is a big deal. Selling someone at 29 is very different to selling someone at 31.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know what you mean. I was trying to think. What's the last time United spent a lot of money on a 28-year-old? I know he's not 28 yet.
No,
but again, by the time he kicks a ball for Manchester United, he will be. When's the last time we spent a lot of money on that?
We brought in the likes of Sanchez on a swap deal with Mkhitaryan when he was 29, technically. Obviously, Zlatan was 35, but again, we didn't pay any money for these players. We brought him in on a free transfer and just spent the money on the wages. Yeah. So it's will we go out and spend a lot of money, or relatively speaking, on a player where if he leaves in 3 years, we'll be lucky if we get.
Pogba was 23, 24. Bruno was 25. Maguire was 26.
Even Fred was like 24.
Yeah, so he's in and around that film. I'm not acting like 28 is some old player, but we're talking on sort of behalf of the Glazers here, which obviously
it's a good shout from Dan in the chat. He says Van Persie ?
Yeah, Van Persie maybe.
You might have to go back to.
Was he 29, 30?
Yeah, I think he was 29 when we bought him, and it was like you're going to get at least one good season out of him, and it was well worth it, obviously, because he won us the league. But that's probably. How many years ago did we buy Van Persie? 2012. So, you've got to go back 9 years since the last time we went out and bought a player in his late 20s for big money. But we'll wait and see. We'll keep you posted on that. Get involved in the chat. A few people are saying. Stephen Kilgariff says, Di Maria. I don't think Di Maria was that old.
No, Di Maria was 26 or 27.
Yeah.
But, not that 28 is old. We're not saying that we wouldn't sign him because he's 28. We're saying, would the Glazers want someone that, if they do their full 5-year contract, is essentially...
Someone else saying, Matic isn't a bad shout as well.
Yeah, Matic, fair enough. There you go.
It's just, it's not something I'd...
Also, he was 30 million or 35 million, not 70, 60, 70 million.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens with that, though. I just have, like I said, very little confidence in this board whatsoever. Should we move on to something... I was going to say more likely, but less likely.
Yeah.
Erling Haaland could cost 400 million over 5 years. Club would need to sell about 200,000 shirts to cover 1 week's wages. Erling Haaland, he's rubbish, mate. Don't even rate him. Who can't score against Manchester City?
Yeah, we do.
That's what I mean.
What are we going to do? Buy him and then stop being able to beat City?
Right.
We're the only team in the world that knows how to beat Man City.
Luke Shaw scores against Man City.
Everyone scores against Man City for Man United.
Scores against Man City.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're telling me
don't give me
this £400 million striker isn't good enough to score against them?
This is one of those things, isn't it, where they put in like it's going to be 120 million, or this is like maximum scenario. This is 150 million for the transfer fee, then 5 years at 30 million a year plus the optional 6th a year. So put it all together, 400 million, including agents' fees, including all this shit. Who cares? That's what footballers cost. That's what things cost. It won't cost that much anyway. He's not going to be on, He's not going to be on 800 grand a week, which is what roughly he'd have to be on to do that. In terms of selling shirts, I think it's pretty. Well, I think the general consensus on that tends to be United don't get like £8 per shirt.
Yeah.
Part of their sponsorship with Adidas is that Adidas keep most of the shirt revenue and United get a small amount if they sell over a certain number of kits. Right.
So is this a bit of a myth that we often hear touted, is that, oh, well, he'd pay for his own transfer because of the shirt sales to the club, like if we bought, Haaland, for example, because we'd sell millions of shirts.
I'm sure some players have it, some teams have it that, they get 20 quid a shirt, but I don't think United do. I think a lot of the big teams don't have it quite like that. The other thing with Haaland, today there's been more stuff in The Athletic about Haaland and Sancho, and United don't want a dragged out, prolonged transfer saga with Haaland. So we're likely to see a shortened version of what we saw with Sancho in the summer. If it's not happening, we'll find out earlier. But we say this, and then, you know, that could just be PR from United coming out and saying, just so you know, if we don't send him by June, it's not happening. And yet we still try, we still dip our toe in, we keep coming back when we get desperate later on in the window. And if he doesn't go anywhere else, I can't see United sort of going, actually, we're going to leave it. I know it's only June the 16th, but this doesn't look like it's going to happen. We're notoriously bad at getting players signed early. So how would we even get the deal done? If we're saying, and this, like I said, this was reported in The Athletic today.
Go on.
If United are saying, we don't want a long drawn-out deal like we did with Sancho.
Yeah.
Right? So the suggestion there is, we are capable of signing this man in June, in July at the latest. We haven't made any of our big signings before sort of the last month of the transfer window in living memory. Like, Maguire takes ages. Everyone just takes ages. Bruno takes ages. We don't get him done, right, June the 1st, sorted, Haaland's done. Even if this was to go completely to plan, it'd take us till the 14th of August. Like, I don't understand how we think that we're going to get this. Either we get him or we don't get him. But by the 10th of June, that's the end of that. It's not going to happen like that.
No, I agree. We are notoriously bad. Even the simple transfers. Even the transfers where you think, okay, this should be pretty much open and shut. You know, you look at Aaron Wan-Bissaka, even that dragged out a bit, didn't it?
Yeah.
And it was like, just silly negotiation tactics as well. Like, we wanted to pay so much and then we'll give you another 10 million if we win the Champions League. Well, we weren't even in the Champions League, and it's like, well, why would they go for that? We've obviously not won it since 2008. It's just like, we're saying, oh, you know, you want 50 million, we'll give you 45, and in the end we just end up giving them 50 million. But it gets dragged out. Again, even you're right as well with the Leicester thing with Harry Maguire. It just seems to be always protracted transfers.
I think this fella for Dortmund might get sent off here.
What's this?
It looks like he's gone up with a... Oh, no, he doesn't. Sorry.
No,
I thought he went with his elbow. He doesn't.
Yeah, it's a bit of a half and half challenge.
Sorry, we are keeping an eye on the City game and
Dortmund scored 3 late
game.
goals to turn that around.
But yeah, Dortmund need 3 goals in probably 5 or 6 minutes, so very unlikely. Unlikely.
Yes, and
impossible.
It's just got to stop his time now, so there's 4 minutes left. They need 3 goals in 4 minutes, which, you know, isn't going to happen.
Which, you know, has never happened in football. I've seen 2 goals in 2 minutes. I don't think I've ever seen 3 goals in 4 minutes to end a game on. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Was it Angola?
Oh, was it Angola? There's the question. So forgive me for not remembering that one. Was it Angola?
Right, Angola, Mali. Right, let me have a look. Let me bring this, because... oh, that was 11 minutes. They were down 4-0 and they drew 4-4.
In the last 11 minutes of the game?
Yeah. In the African
sometimes you'll see
But I remember that was literally 11 years ago. Yeah. And I remember it because it was like spoken about all the time, despite the fact it was, you know, a relatively unimportant game, no disrespect to Malians watching, if that's even a word. But yeah, it doesn't happen. City going through, we just got to hope that, I don't know.
PSG not
Is
come
it
out.
PSG?
Piers Morgan.
Piers Morgan going to do it? Are they going to do the job for us?
I think PSG will win the Champions League this season.
I hope you're right, because I'd take that right now.
Yeah.
That is just the proper horrible cup, that, and if it's City, PSG in the final.
Well, it can't be the final, can it? But
can it not? Is it them in the next round?
I think so. I'm not sure, actually. Who's...
Yeah,
City
right.
PSG next round. What a game that is.
Hey,
Oil Classico, as they call it.
There's one to bring you out. That's it, the romance of the Champions League. 2 sports-washing giants playing each other.
Oh, fantastic, isn't
mate, I tell you what, the beautiful game. Let's move on, shall we? Because we're not getting Erling Haaland, are we?
I think we might. I don't want him. Do you know what? After tonight and after the last leg, he had his chance and he blew it. And yes, always, I'm only 20, give me a break. I don't care. Do you know how old, Pele was when all summer happened? Younger than that.
This is the kind of thing, though, what I make my decisions based upon.
Yeah,
I don't want Ousmane Dembele because he missed that sitter against Liverpool. I don't want Haaland now because he's been crap against City.
No, and in fairness to Haaland, he's basically had 1 chance in the 2 legs. In fairness, he did miss it, but 1 chance over 2 legs.
Then he's rubbish.
1 chance over 2 legs, you can't really say shit. I'm only joking, of course.
This is the Champions League, mate. You only get 1 chance. What if Teddy Sheringham fluffed his 1 chance in the new camp in '99, eh? Or all he did? Eh? Where would we be then? Think about that. You get 1 chance, you take it. Like
it was Sheringham on the header, wasn't it?
You what, sorry?
Sheringham won the header that Solskjaer tapped in.
I think so, yeah. I can't vaguely.
What a game, Sheringham.
Yeah,
what a fucking 2 minutes.
No Teddy, no
Scoring
treble.
the goal. That was a shot that was it Giggs?
Giggs
going
with the
so
shot.
wide.
Worst shot ever.
Worst shot of all time, and Sheringham just turns it in, and then 90 seconds later wins the header. Ball goes to the back post. We all know
And
what happens
Solskjaer has won it.
Anyway.
Exactly, that's what you do. You take your chances, mate.
Yeah,
Not,
exactly.
you know, I've had no service.
We only had one-on-one with our goalie.
I'm only 20 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Bore off, mate. Get a grip.
Yeah. What were you doing when you were 20, working down the mines?
Mate, I was scoring goals for Dortmund against Man City.
Were you?
Taking my chances. No, I wasn't. I was working in, I don't even know. I think I was working for the benefits agency, to be honest with you.
Were you?
Yeah,
What were you doing, nicking old women's money and that income? Oh, you want your pension, do you? Right.
Yeah. Well,
here it is. Take your nightie off. You get £1 an item of clothing, darling.
Right. So it's gone from me working at benefits agency to me paying old women to strip for me.
Using their own pension.
Using their own pension to say you're not having your money unless you take your clothes off.
That's it. That's what I've suggested.
May or may not be why I got sacked. Anyway, let's move quickly.
Well, it said benefit, and I weren't getting no benefit, so I got my own benefit out of it.
Yeah, all right. Just clear your desk. You're going home. Security will escort you out of the building. I remember it like it was yesterday. Shall we move on? In fact, you've got something to tell us about.
I've got something absolutely to say about.
All right.
This show, Jay, we've finally done it.
What?
We've been doing this show. How long have we been plugging away on this show for? My favourite show of the week.
It's been months.
And Premier League Piss
Oh, well, you have to get that, don't you? Oh, yeah, I'm the Premier League Piss.
Finally, the people at Manscaped have seen sense. They've decided to sponsor the show. This show is sponsored by Manscaped.
Manscaped. Finally.
Manscaped, eh?
Listen to us.
Hey, you! Not you. You in camera land. Got Bush? Bet you haven't all. I've seen, right, I was walking through Stevenson Square earlier, and every single person had a haircut. Because the barbers opened yesterday, was it? The other day anyway, Monday.
What are you asking me for?
Oh yeah, shit, sorry. The barbers opened Monday, and I'm walking through thinking, I bet people's groins are absolutely disgusting at this time of year because no one has been able or had any need to trim their pubes for 12 months. Well, now there is the need. You're going back out, you're getting back on the dating scene, you're going back on date night with your missus. Like, oh, we just get a lasagna. I'm not trimming my pubes for a lasagna. But if we're going out to, you know, a Hungry Horse, a Yates's, a Weatherspoons, a Mackie Dizzlers, I want my boys to look like Jason Statham's chin. Right. Chiseled. Rugged. But more than anything, maintained, Jay. Yeah. And that's why I use Manscaped. And make sure you use the code PaddockLive at manscaped.com. That's Paddock Live. We get our own code, Jay.
Finally,
that's how important we are.
We've made it. Do you know what? Our own code.
Yes.
Is this the one with the lawnmower technology?
Well, this has got also. They've all got the lawnmower technology. No, here's the thing: you've got to up your grooming game with the Perfect Package 3.0. This has all the stuff you need in it. It's got your ball toners, your cleansers, your revivers. It's got your trimmers. It's got the lawnmower 3.0.
Who wants 2.0 when you can have 3.0?
Yeah.
Like a chump.
Do the balls, do the bum, and you know what? I've got one right here, Jay. Here's one I prepared earlier that, if I'm honest, reeks of my undercarriage. But that's no, yeah, it's no problem. And the thing is, I can wash this underwater if I need to because it's waterproof. Sometimes you're like, oh, when am I going to trim this? Over a bit of newspaper in the living room so my dad can watch. Absolutely not. I'm going to do it in the shower by myself. And you can turn the shower on as well. Right. So if your missus is there going, what's going on? Oh, I'm just brushing my teeth with the electric.
I noticed as well there, it's got a torch on it.
Yeah, it has.
So you don't have to get a physical torch and hold it in your mouth and do that, like I do. Yeah, exactly. Have you got that torch again? I need it. I'm trying to get some out of the garage. I'm like, it's so embarrassing. And then there's all saliva all over the torch. She says, you've been at it again, haven't you? I'm like, well, you wanted me to do it. That's just what goes down in the Watson household on a regular basis. But with that, you don't need to do that.
You don't need that. You can also, do you know, if you're writing a very secret letter to a long-lost love under the covers, turn this on and use this as a little light. So all you have to do
when she says, what's that buzzing? Nothing. It's in your head.
Tinnitus playing up, love, back at the benefits thing, aren't you? All you have to do is use code PaddockLive at checkout to get 20% off at free shipping at manscaped.com. Check it out. It helps us out. It'll help you out as well. It certainly helped me out. I'm pristine, spick and span down there. And I've had nothing but compliments. So make sure you check out manscaped.com and use code PaddockLive. That's PADDOCKLIVE at checkout for 20% off and free shipping. What's next, Jay?
Let's talk about Declan Rice.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Sensational.
Sensational. Great plug in there, son. As you can see there from the graphic, United have tracked Declan Rice for more than 2 years.
Yeah.
Moyes claimed last month Rice is worth far more than 100 million. He's not. Jesse Lingard plus cash deal for Declan Rice? Question mark. Discuss.
Interesting that we've tracked him so long. We've been interested for so long.
I think we have, you know.
I do as well. And I wonder do you think that was because we wanted to see if Fred was good enough? Do you think that was because we wanted to see if Rice was good enough? Because we are in a position as Manchester United where I know people like to sort of, I don't know, people like to knock us sometimes, and sometimes rightly so, for letting Maguire go from Hull to Leicester before we got him. Yeah. Or letting Wan-Bissaka, I know he didn't have long at Crystal Palace, but there's often accusations levelled at United. It's like, well, why do you buy them? Why do you buy them 12 months
It's because he had that man of the match performance against us, didn't he, when we beat him, when Matic scored that goal.
Maguire for Leicester.
No, sorry, Aaron Wan-Bissaka for Palace, remember?
Yeah.
When Matic scored that worlder. And it's like, why didn't we get him then after one game?
Yeah.
We're going to go, right, he's played well, let's buy him.
Yeah, and also, we're in a position as Man United where we do have a bit more money than other clubs. And maybe that gap is narrowing a bit more now with the TV revenue and that sort of thing. But generally speaking, we could afford to wait for a player to prove themselves to be good enough before we bought them, because you rule out the risk of them coming in and being shit, because Leicester have bought plenty of players who haven't been good enough for Manchester United. Yeah. It's just easy to say, well, Leicester knew he was good enough, so why didn't we? Well, they have loads of players who aren't good enough for United.
Do you remember when Sancho came through? Well, not came through, they bought him, didn't they, at Leicester, and everyone was going, he's actually better than Maguire.
No, he's not.
He's not, though, is it?
No, Johnny Evans is their standout centre-back. And as much as I like Johnny Evans, I don't think he's better than Harry Maguire.
No, I don't at all. And, you know, it's people just watch, oh, well, look at that. Yeah. United should have done that. And to a certain degree, I think we can be a little bit more savvy. I'm not saying that it's, you know, we've been fantastic at spotting these unearthed gems, but it's not that easy. I mean, even Fergie used to say, he said the amount of players that got offered, the amount of players we were tracking, because people made a big deal out of the fact we didn't sign Joe Hart for £1 million when he was at Huddersfield, I think. Yeah. It might be Shrewsbury, I was getting mixed up wherever he was anyway. For £1 million, there was a chance to buy him. Fergie didn't, and Fergie was like, he was one of like thousands of keepers that we were monitoring or getting told about. And at the time, I think we had Ben Foster, we had Van der Sar or whatever. It was like, you know, there was a lot going on. So it happens, and you can't always go, well, you should have got him or you should have spotted him. We have been tracking him, but the problem we've got is this nonsense. 100 million.
That is the other end of the spectrum, isn't it? Where you do wait a little bit longer, and then they become, you know, unbuyably expensive. And that's because West Ham don't need to sell him for cheap, because they do have more money, like I was saying before, because these days of us, you know, you make them good for us and we'll buy them off you. Rio Ferdinand, one of the best centre-backs, young centre-backs in England, yeah, we'll take him, 30 million, no problem. Yeah. Etc., etc. That was the case 10, 15 years ago. Whereas now, when a player's good enough to play for Manchester United and they play for another English club, they cost more than we can afford to pay for them. Like Jack Grealish, like maybe Declan Rice as well. So it's great in a way that we've got Jesse Lingard in there, because I think it's right for all parties if he moves on. Maybe we can take 25, I would say 25 million, 30 million maybe for Jesse Lingard, because as easy as it is to say, oh, he's only done it for this many games, or oh, he is 28 or whatever, it is so difficult for any team in the world to get a player that can do and has done what Jesse Lingard's done in the last 3 months. No. And obviously it's not long enough, but 8 goals in 9 games, 3 assists in that time as well. West Ham don't have anyone that's like that. No. They have Souček, who puts a decent shift in, and they've got Mikel Antonio, who gets 4 in 4 once every 2 seasons. Otherwise, he just struggles to get to 5 or 6, maybe 10 at a push. Like, if Jesse Lingard can keep up what he's doing till the end of the season, there's no reason he shouldn't be worth 25, 30 million, because there just aren't many players who can do that. Even on a hot streak, most players don't do what he's doing now. And also, you know, you mentioned it there about Declan Rice and the fact that, you know, the last couple of results they've had, Declan Rice hasn't played. Jesse Lingard has basically won in both those games. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, can they afford to just, if they've got an opportunity to keep hold of Jesse Lingard, can they afford to let him go? I mean, the last time they had a player like that was Paddock, wasn't it? Yeah. He was a match winner. And like they had him for, what, a season of him being good before he, and when he went, he spat his dummy out, didn't he? There was all sorts going on before he left. And like, Declan Rice, very talented young midfielder. I'm sure he's got a great career ahead of him, but you know, Jesse Lingard has taken them to another level, and there's a case we made that he's only 28, so he's still got another couple of seasons, and if he carries on performing around that level for them, then they can be challenging for the top 4 the next couple of seasons. Let's say even if he gets you know, next season, start again. You've got a full year. He's not going to do the same goals per game ratio that he's doing now. He just isn't. If he can get 10 goals, 10 assists for them next season, that is a massive success for them.
Of course it is.
Because it's so easy. There are so few players that get double-digit goals and assists in the league. It's really very rare. Like, that's, for me, the marker of a really good attacking midfielder.
Yeah.
10 and 10. And obviously, certain players like Bruno blow that out of the water. But generally speaking, double digits in both, you're a good attacking midfielder. I think he can get that for them next season. And you know, obviously, if he carries on the way he is now, he'll get much more than that. But I just think he should be worth a fair amount to them. And Abdullah Ibrahim said the same thing, essentially. Lingard is pushing the Hammers higher up the table than Rice ever has. West Ham should be giving us Rice and cash deal for Lingard. English player tax.
There is the English player tax as well. You're right about that. No, I completely agree. And it's like you've seen how Jesse Lingard... I'm not
Rice and Cash might be pushing it a little bit.
But, yeah. Who knows? Why not? Messi, Lingard and all that. You've seen how... I'm not saying he's the same player or he's as good as, but he's had that galvanising effect that like Bruno had with United. Yeah. Jesse got in there in raising everyone around him. You look at those players, they're always looking for him. They're always trying to bring him in. I saw it against Leicester the other night where he scored a couple of goals, I think it was, and they still kept trying to find him. Yeah. He was making those runs late into the box and they were looking at all areas, and trying to get him on the end of things because he's just making them tick. And you can see the tempo they're playing at now. It's just a higher tempo. And he's obviously took him to a new level. And while Rice is a very good player, yeah, like we've been saying, I don't think he's going to... I think if Jesse leaves and Rice stays, they'll be worse off than the other way around. Do you know what I mean? I think they will. I think that, okay, Rice might be a better long-term option because he's got, he's 6 years younger than Jesse Lingard, but he's not an out-and-out match winner in the way that Jesse Lingard's been for them. He's not someone who's elevated everyone around him. And also, if he doesn't come to United now, in this summer, sooner or later he'll go somewhere else. Leicester aren't going to keep hold of Declan Rice for the rest of his career.
No.
He's not Mark Noble.
Not if he's any good.
No, exactly. The
only way he will is if he is Mark Noble.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's a 5 out of 10 player.
Exactly. As soon as if he's good consistently, like Rio or Carrick, he'll move on. That's what happens. Jermaine Defoe, they move on. So I just don't see it happening. I don't see him staying there for long, and I think it might be best, for everyone if West Ham get as much money as they can for him and keep Lingard. So they get like 40, 50 million, whatever, and keep Lingard, rather than waiting, losing Lingard, and then getting, I don't know, maybe 70 million for him next summer instead, summer after.
I think Jesse Lingard plus 40, 45 million, I think that's a fair deal.
That's a deal that could be done. The only thing for
valuing him at around 70 million.
The big sort of question mark for me is, does Jesse want to go to West Ham permanently? Because we can't just say about Jesse Lingard, well, he's got to do this move for us. Yeah. He's got to go because we want Declan Rice. This isn't like... We had a similar thing, didn't we? We mentioned it earlier with Mkhitaryan and Sanchez, where it was like Mkhitaryan was umming about going to Arsenal. I don't blame him because it's garbage. But it was like, well, he's got to because we want Sanchez. Well, he doesn't have to. No. Do you know what I mean? And it's a bit of a shame, really, because it didn't work out for anyone, that move. But with Jesse Lingard, he's in the form of his life. He's back in the England squad. He's a Champions League level footballer. So if they're not in the Champions League, he might go, I'm 28. Do I want to spend the last 2 years of my career? Or 2 years, last, say, 4 years of my...
That's a big contract in his career, anyway.
A club that may or may not get in the Champions League, when I could go to a club in Europe that's winning trophies, that's challenging me.
He could get a game at AC Milan.
Of course he could, easily. Walks into that team. Or in England, maybe it's a bit of a stretch, but would someone like... he's not going to go to Arsenal, I don't think that's going to happen. Tottenham, maybe, could they come in for him?
Jose?
Yeah, but is that a move? I mean, it's a bigger club than West Ham, innit, and more likely to be in the Champions League long term than West Ham. Maybe there's different options for him. I don't know. We can't just assume that, especially for a player who's been so unhappy over the last couple of years, because he's had obviously spoken about his mental health issues, his changing circumstances at home and his family life. He's had more responsibilities, like looking after his family and stuff. His form was affected by it. He's not been a happy camper. He's finally got his mojo back. Does he want to sort of make his life worse or more miserable by staying somewhere he doesn't want to be long term? Do you know what I mean? He's got the right to look after number one. So if it doesn't happen, this move, if we don't get Declan Rice, because Jesse Lingard doesn't want to do a sort of deal, I hope people don't start hammering him and going like that, because, being stupid about it. He's looking disloyal, should just make the move because we want Declan Rice. No, he shouldn't.
Well, he can go to Lyon and get Champions League football.
Yeah, exactly. So he doesn't have to go to West Ham. And despite this renaissance they're having, or whatever you want to call it, they're not historically one of the top clubs. Baksar Surya Kumar says, any thoughts on why United doesn't do more swap and cash type deals? In my opinion, Lingard plus 50, 70 million for Rice is better deal than £100 million deal. I mean, the trouble with United is we always seem to have this sort of fire sale attitude towards players we don't want anymore. We can't wait to get rid of him. If you look at the Scousers, they get good money for just garbage.
Yeah.
Like Dominic Solanke and players like that who are just rubbish. They'll get like 18, 20 million for him. And we'll just go, what's that? You want Chicharito? Yeah, damn it. You just have him on what? Give us 10 mil, whatever, 12 mil.
What have you got in your pocket?
Yeah.
You just what you got? 6 million. Yeah.
Lukaku's guaranteed to get you goals, but we'll take a hit on him.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like we just get rid, and it's like we're always doing it. So there is an option there, and we do have some good players that could be involved in swap deals. Not loads of them, being brutally honest. Jesse's a standout one. You're not going to get a swap deal for Phil Jones. I'm not trying to sort of dig him out again, but we're not. Sergio Romero thinks out the door. I don't even know if that's an option, a swap deal there. Probably not. David De Gea, is there a swap deal to be made there?
Maybe there, because he's a sort of player who's worth more than he would sell for because of his wages.
Maybe
so you could get a lot of money off someone's deal for that. I think you could maybe 25, 30 million. It's weird, isn't it? Because 5 or 6, I know obviously the wages are completely different, but Chelsea paid 75 million for Kepa, and yet we're talking that De Gea might go for 25 million. I know he's a lot younger, but I'd rather the next 3 years of De Gea or the next 5 years of De Gea over than what were the next 5 years of Kepa with the contract he signed. Like, how has he got that? How has he gone for that? And we're barely scraping 25 million together for the reports of what David De Gea is going to go for. I don't understand it. I know he's on a lot of money, but come on.
That is ridiculous. That is one of the most outrageous transfers in recent
Kepa.
memory.
I think it might be the worst transfer in history.
Do you reckon? What does our resident Chelsea fan think?
It wasn't
great, was it? Yeah, says producer Cam. I mean, I agree. I think that it's potentially the worst, isn't it? It's in that conversation because he's brought nothing to that Chelsea team. Cost them 75 and actually cost them games, and the potentially
and a little bit of that sort of ridicule kind of piss-takey.
I mean, he had a bit of a stinker under Frank Lampard, didn't he? He had a stinker under.
It's like the video. It's just there. Look, there you go. It's in the middle of the screen. I love that.
Maurizio Sarri, when he fell out in the Carabao Cup final. So he's not like he's just been bad. He's been spectacularly bad and cost managers almost cost them the jobs. So I think he's the worst signing actually in history. Let us know in the comments what you think about that. Whether you think we should make more use of swap deals. If we are going to make more use of swap deals, who the players we're going to swap and who for, let us know. And give us a like as well. Hit that like button. Should we move on?
Yes.
Someone says, hang on, just before we do. JC says, if Lingard gets West Ham Champions League football, he's worth a minimum of 60 million.
Great.
Yep, I agree. Right, who have we got next on my agenda? Milinkovic, Savic.
Oh, now we're talking.
Lazio's Milinkovic, Savic. Now, it says there, United consider a summer move for Lazio's Milinkovic, Savic. It will cost around 63 million quid and has 7 goals and 10 assists from midfield this season. Now, do you rate this guy? Because I've got to tell you a little story about him in a minute.
Oh, yeah, I do. He was so highly rated, wasn't he, 3 or 4 years ago? Like, people were talking, he was one of those £100 million players, wasn't he? When we first signed Pogba, it was like the season after that, I think, and we'd had this sort of Pogba precedent set in terms of transfers. But he hasn't really evolved into the best midfielder in the world like he was supposed to be. He looks like a good player, consistently puts up big numbers. You look there, around 63 million quid. That's more like it maybe for a player that could come in and play in that midfield alongside maybe a Rice, maybe a Matic or a McTominay. He looks like a good player to me. I just wonder where he fits in because I know he's a defensive player, but 7 goals, 10 assists. He gets forward. He likes to play box to box. Maybe if Paul Pogba leaves, that would be the main way I would see him coming in. He is a good player. I think he improves United if Paul Pogba goes. I would rather have him in there than some of the other options we have. But I do think we need more of a sit back, defend, tackle, play 5-yard passes sideways to people like him rather than him coming in, unless, of course, Paul Pogba does go.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from completely. What I was going to say is a few years ago, I was over in Norway with Bojan Djordjic, who's played for United, me and him doing some media stuff, and he was raving, he's ahead of the World Cup, he was raving about this guy, because obviously Bojan's got that sort of, he's part Serbian. Yeah. Raving about him, he's like, United have got to get him, go all out for him. He's the one to watch in a World Cup. He's a complete midfielder. He'll fit straight into the team and all this sort of stuff. So I sort of kept an eye on him because I didn't know a lot of him. And he didn't have a great World Cup for me. He did okay. Serbia, I think, went out in the group stages. And it was like, I was a bit underwhelmed. That was my sort of feeling as like, you know, he doesn't stand out. He's not. I don't look at him and go, "There's a Manchester United player." And since then, I've not seen it. I've not seen a lot of him, admittedly, but I've not seen anything about him where I go, "We should be going out for him." So I don't know. It's one of those for me. I think it's a bit of a gamble, if that makes sense, because he's 26 years old. It's not like he's one of those players where you go, "He's the one."
No,
that is the one. You know, he's been compared to like Paul Pogba, but he's
just because he's 6'3" basically, and he hasn't got a shit touch.
Yeah, and he's got a little bit of everything about him. He can get stuck in, he can spray it about, he can score goals, whatever. But for me, it'd be a bit of a downgrade, and also there's no guarantee. I know there's no guarantees in football, but I wouldn't be that shocked if he came to the Premier League and just underwhelmed and didn't do it. It could be another Fred scenario, and some people will rave about Fred. I know he just got a goal, but it could be another one of those. Get involved in the comments. Let me know if I'm talking rubbish. People will be going, you know, what you're on about is much better than Fred or whatever. But I don't know. Maybe you rate him. Maybe you've seen more of him than I have. I admit I've not seen a lot of him. It's just when I have seen him, he's been a bit of a sort of 6 or 7 out of 10 best player. And I don't know if that's what we need at the minute. Despite the fact that Bojan, who I do rate, he's raved about him, but he's just not really done it for me. But like you say, Paul Pogba goes. We could be in the market for that type of player. So who knows? Who knows what can happen? Should we talk about Paul Pogba a bit more?
Go on then.
Because
let's get into him. Let's get right into him.
I mean, I love Paul Pogba. I do. I think he's great. He's good stuff, and I don't mind the fact that he gets injured now and again. It happens. He probably gets injured a bit too much. It's not his fault. I don't care about when he dyes his hair. I don't care about when he plays basketball or goes to his brother's wedding or whatever. So I'm not really bothered when he does a documentary. What I do mind about, though, is the title of the documentary, Joe. Tell us what the title of this Amazon documentary about Paul Pogba is going to be called.
It says here, Jay, Pogba signed a deal with Amazon to produce a project called Pogmentary. What the Spanish flu is that? Pogmentary. It looks like it says cemetery. Not even Pogumentary. Not even... Fuck, Jay. Pogmentary is terrible.
I'm so embarrassed.
I'm so embarrassed.
I'm embarrassed for him.
I'm embarrassed for him. I'm embarrassed for Raiola. That's how bad it is. I even feel bad for Mino Raiola.
I'm going to sign up to Amazon when I get home and then cancel it.
Pogmentary is really, really bad.
That is horrible.
Like, just shit. Not even like, oh, I get it.
You know when you're like having a brainstorming meeting?
Yeah.
It's like, just say whatever comes into your head and you find it around, you're going,
no wrong answers.
Pogmentary. And everyone just starts talking and goes, get out.
Get out. And it's like they've gone, no matter what, no matter how bad this brainstorm meeting goes, we have 15 minutes to decide, and it has to be a pun.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way we just call it Paul Pogba documentary. Yeah. There's no way.
My story or whatever.
We don't leave this room.
A day in my life. No, none of that.
We don't leave this room until we've come up with a great pun, or in 15 minutes, whichever comes first.
Yeah. And
the 15 minutes was elapsing, and they went, we're going to have to go back to the first one.
Boss came in and went, have you got an answer? He went, yeah, I've got loads of answers. What is it? We'll tell you. Well, tell me now. What is your answer? What is it then? What's your answer? What have you come up with?
I've got one.
Well, tell me what we're calling the Paul Pogba documentary, because we're waiting to go. His people are on the phone. They want to know.
We're gonna go Pog.
Yeah, like it. Good.
Pogmentary.
That's it.
That's what we're working with at the moment. We can change it if you want. We've emailed.
You're all fired.
We've emailed the production team. It's set in stone.
They've gone with that. It's an awful title, but he is good box office, Paul Pogba.
Yeah.
Like him or dislike him, he's always spoken about, and he's always seems to have a lot going on. Seems quite a colourful character as well, doesn't he? When you see
everyone seems to like him.
Everyone seems to like him. When you see these little video clips of the changing rooms, he's always messing about, and he seems always full of beans. Him and his brothers as well are always dancing and stuff. It seems like a documentary about him would be entertaining.
Yeah. I'm always a bit shy to be like, I suppose it could be centred around the World Cup, couldn't it? But you think, well, his career not done yet. The best bit might not have happened yet. Like, I suppose they'll just release another one.
Have you watched many Amazon documentaries?
I've watched a bit of that All or Nothing. Is it All or Nothing? I watched the Sunderland one. Was that Amazon?
Yeah, I think so.
I watched the Sunderland one, and I watched a bit of the City one, where United were involved and then turned it off.
I didn't watch the City one.
Not the City one, sorry, the Tottenham one.
I watched the Spurs one, which I thought was pretty funny.
That was good.
Jose in it.
Yeah. But you're not a fan of Amazon documentaries?
Well, I saw the Gaza. Was that an Amazon one?
Don't know. Didn't see it.
Yeah, it was. Which is a bit. It was like they sort of crammed in the last 10 years excuse me, of his life in like a 30 seconds clip.
Yeah.
It was like, here's his life, and by the way, here's what happened for the next 10 years.
Right.
So Anelka one, he just came across like a bit of a knobhead. And it was like, oh, hey, Nicholas Anelka, and again, they brushed over lots of things. It was like, I just only watched that to see the penalty miss in Moscow. Do you know what I mean?
It's probably one of those things that they're put together to be...
Yeah, my point is sometimes I feel like it's just like, let's make a Gaza documentary, let's make an Anelka documentary, let's just get it out, let's just, you know, oh, these are the best clips or the best bits we've got access to, and, you know, because we're interviewing him as well, we'll paint him in a great light, and we won't deal with some of the sort of dark sides. So I'm not saying Pogba's got a dark side, but do you know what I mean? It won't be like all-encompassing. It'll be more like some sort of canonisation of him, like, oh, he's amazing.
It'll be a 3-minute sort of montage of a 12-year-old kid that looks a bit like him playing in the street in France.
Yeah.
And then it'll go from humble beginnings, and then it'll just be a montage of volleys from at Juventus. All that. That'll be it. And then there'll be one quote that you'll see in all the newspapers where he said, "I told Fergie it was time to go."
Yeah.
And that'll be it.
And then Raiola will be about 47 minutes of the 1 hour special will be him.
I hope it's good, and I hope it works and stuff. But Pogmentary, we couldn't not talk.
Let us know your puns.
You've
got in it, because people are criticising Pogmentary.
Well, speaking of puns,
it's absolutely.
I did say one before, didn't I?
Pogspiracy, someone said.
Pogspiracy's all right.
Yeah, I like that.
Poglove. What's that? A pun on nothing?
Nothing.
Boglove. You boglove. I did say, didn't I? There's a chip shop in Oldham. This is great. I love this. Chip shop in Oldham, Elvis themed. Caught in a trap. Which is fantastic. Caught in a trap. We've got Paddock as well. Caught in a trap, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, what we got next?
Enough of this nonsense. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's been speaking to the press.
Good lad.
About things, stuff.
Oh, it's going to be another one of those things, isn't it, where people call him a clanger and that.
Yeah,
drop a clanger.
Drops a clanger. I mean, you can see there, he's talking about confidence. I can feel the change in the confidence. When I started rebuilding this squad, we had a few months, seasons to learn. They have learned on the job. Now we want to win a trophy. Go as far as we can. You want to know, talk about change there as well, about how Ollie's changed things. Maka did a good interview with someone who went and trained with Ollie, didn't he? Went back to United with...
Are we saying the name?
Yeah, are we? That's what I was waiting to...
Yeah, it's recorded.
I know, yeah, but have we told everyone what it is?
I don't know if we have, actually. Giuseppe Rossi.
Yeah, well, there we are.
Former Manchester United player.
Yeah. Oh, it's on... actually, yeah, he did. He
He
posted a thing about it, didn't he? Yeah, so Rossi obviously played under Fergie, he was at United, and he went back to train with Ollie in the United squad, obviously, just when Ollie had taken over as caretaker manager. So it's a really interesting part of the interview, and obviously talks about his time at United and over in Italy and at Villarreal and everywhere else. It's a mint interview, it really is. So that'll be up on the channel soon. But Ollie's talking about changes there that he's made, and now we want... What I like about that is now we want to win a trophy.
Yeah.
Because I'm sick of seeing this quote about trophies out of measurement or whatever of our success and getting it rammed down his throat. It's like, oh, he doesn't want to win trophies, he's a loser. Well, obviously he does. Do you know what I mean?
I don't understand it. Like, anyone who watched him play, anyone who's heard him speak in the last 25 years knows that he's obsessed with winning trophies and winning football matches and being as good as possible.
Yeah.
He always was. He's not anyone... I mean, we all know what he meant by that. He meant just because you've won a trophy doesn't mean you have progressed to the point where we need to. That is it. Look at Arsenal.
Birmingham City won the League Cup, got relegated.
That was all his point was.
You know, it can happen. I'm not saying trophies don't matter. I'm a United fan who's grown up and watched us win trophy after trophy for about 3 decades.
Yeah.
Obviously, I want to see us win trophies, but I get where Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was coming from.
You can win the FA Cup and finish 10th and be no closer to winning the Premier League just because you won the FA Cup.
Yeah, you use a good example of Arsenal. Yeah. Hopefully, we can win the Europa League and put all this nonsense to bed, but I get where he was coming from. So he's, says go as far as we can. Starting with tomorrow night against Granada in the second leg of that quarter-final.
There was another good thing you talk about. Did you see this?
Go on.
About why we're not winning at home.
I didn't know if you were going to mention it, but now you have. Go on.
I want to mention. Did not want to mention.
Elucidate the masses.
Well, anyone who didn't see, he basically was talking about. I mean, it wasn't like here's the one and only reason why we lost to Tottenham and Arsenal and Palace and who's the other ones? Some other teams.
Spurs.
Oh,
you said Tottenham, sorry.
Yeah, at home this season. Sheffield United.
Oh yeah.
Here's why we lost to them, because the seats are red, probably. He didn't say that. What he said is, some of the players had said to him, sometimes when I'm like, the ball's coming to me, I'm turning, I'm looking for a player, and I see red shirt on a player with red seats and red banners and everything red behind him, I don't see him straight away. Basically was what he was saying. So they've changed the banners from being red to being black. So there's more of a contrast in those split seconds when I'm on the edge of the box, I've got a man here, I'm trying to look over my shoulder while the ball's coming to me, and I've got half a second to make a decision on, is there someone behind me or not? You would think, it makes sense to me, just from I've got eyes, I know what looking at different contrasts is like. If the shirts are the same colour as the seats, occasionally you might think, oh, that's the shirt. Oh no, it's not. It was a seat. I mean, I don't think it's particularly controversial. People would go on.
Why don't we change the banners to the colour of the opposition shirts so they're confused?
But then what if?
So, go on.
What if Luke Shaw tackles a seat?
Oh, I'm not saying that. That's a good point. Now it's a work in progress, like the Podmentary. Adam McCullough's in the chats. Even he says 1,000 likes for Joe to do a live Manscaped of his beard. Maybe
I'll do my
nether regions.
My butty
for 1,000 likes.
No,
£1,000. £1,000. Yeah, if someone sends us £1,000, Joe's going to shave his balls on the telly.
Yeah. What would you not?
What?
£1,000. I'm having it all.
Right.
It's not just like for the channel.
You're having it and you're going to shave your testicles. Not on this channel, you're not, son. We're not having any of that filth on here. Maybe £2,000, maybe.
Yeah.
All right, £2,000.
You can have one.
Yeah, right, sweet.
I feel guilty.
Also, he's been talking about Jesse Lingard.
Here we
Ole
go.
Gunnar Solskjaer. He says Jesse's been brilliant since he left. No shit, Sherlock.
Hey up! That's our good manager you're talking about there.
Oh, Jesse's been playing all right, hasn't he? Okay, all right. Nice one for that insight, Professor.
Nice one, Ollie, you big square.
Oh, I wish I was back in the presses. I wouldn't have said that.
I've got a follow-up question, sorry, if you don't mind. And they're like, oh, well, we're going to move on. I know, but you're allowed a follow-up question. It's less of a question. No shit, Sherlock. I relinquish my time.
Dickhead.
Yeah, like you're on the Senate floor, just pulling that mic thing down to you. Yeah, no shit, dickhead.
You must have been top of your fucking class.
Yeah, dickhead. Oh, it squeaks now.
Get off me!
Sorry if that's put you off, mate.
I'm not finished.
What's he said?
Yeah, he said, we could have kept him. He has always got a part to play. Man United through and through. Never caused me a problem.
Good lad.
Yeah. Okay.
He's nice.
Yeah, there's nothing there that's quite newsy, is there?
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
Jesse's playing
nice
really
to Jesse
well.
Lingard.
Yeah, I like him, and he's United through and through, which we know. Everyone knows that, and he never caused me a problem. I think as well there was a lot of nonsense spoke about Jesse Lingard, wasn't there, about his off the field antics, which are pretty much non-existent. Because there was that video, wasn't there, the beans
2 years ago.
Like, they're on holiday being lads.
Oh, these 24-year-old, or whatever he was at the time, 26-year-old lad laughed at his mate. Oh my God! And this one pretended to hump a pillow once. Oh no! All I've ever done is just read verse, and that's it. We just read hymns at mine.
Yeah, on our holidays, we go and look at the ancient artifacts and the museums. That's how we spend our
We simply read poetry.
Yes.
And fart with the door closed.
Partake in drinking alcohol or laughing with our friends.
Yeah.
So it was a load of nonsense.
Or, drunk and disorderly.
Yeah, exactly. So, Ollie's saying Jesse's a nice lad and, he's been mint at West Ham, which is all true. I agree with all those sentiments.
Good lad. What we got next?
What have we got next? I've just lost my thing. What's next on the agenda?
Tell you what's next. Manscaped.
Manscaped.
Ever heard of it?
Yes,
this right here, Jay, is going to change your life because
I
mean, I know you've already used it because you've showed me. You brought your clippings in, didn't you? Like, do you know at school when you do like, oh, we're going to grow green beans at school, and you take them home, and then you go in and you show your teacher the bag of green beans, and then she goes, oh, were they for me? Thank you. And you're stood there going, they weren't for you, Mrs. Ingman. They were for me, and you've taken them all. And I feel too embarrassed to say that they were my beans. I just brought them in to show them you. It was very much like that.
It's like my metal dice that I had. Mr. Nicklin in maths took it off me. And he said he could have it back in the lesson. That was 1994, and I've still not got it back. Yeah, and he's dead, and I'm not going to get it off him now, am I?
No, you're not. Go around knock on his widow's door. Did he say anything about a pair of dice?
It was a metal dice that my mate's dad had made from British Aerospace. It had a British Aerospace emblem on it. So if anyone sees that, get in touch.
But you won't have that problem with Manscaped because the Lawnmower 3.0, as you've proved with your little bag of clippings that you keep in your drawer and you have a little taste when you need to, it's perfect. It's got an attachable clipper so you can go, if you want it medium length, if you want it short, if you want it like the breadcrumbs on a Scotch egg, barely even there, you can do it all with the Lawnmower 3.0. That is part of the Perfect Package 3.0, which you can get 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com using the code PADDOCKLIVE. That is PADDOCKLIVE, all one word, Paddock Live at checkout to get 20% off and free shipping. Thank you once again to Manscaped for sponsoring the show.
Superbly done. Right, should we power through these stories?
Power.
Will Fish.
Do you know Willie?
The last we have here, the Bants. United promote academy graduate to first team training. The young centre-back has been promoted into United's Europa League squad versus Granada. Good young player. We've spoken about him on the academy review. David Pritt likes him. Says he's decent. So we'll obviously...
You know what, that's good enough for me.
Yeah, it's too early to start saying, you know, oh, this kid's going to make it or whatever. But good to see him in the Europa League squad. And these are the sorts of squads where we should be giving some of these younger players a bit of a taste of being at travelling because it's own, but you know, being around the first team squad and being part of it, and hopefully, you know, he'll be going on to bigger things with United. You know, we know we need a centre back. He's only 18, so it's highly unlikely, you know, we're going to be relying on him anytime soon. We've seen Ted Mengi's gone out on loan. He's doing well at Derby County, I believe. And
it's so hard with centre backs. I know I say this a lot, but when's the last time United had a centre back come through the youth team that was a sort of consistent regular in the first team? Was it Johnny Evans? And even he was never truly first choice.
He was more, yeah, he sort of, the only time he became first choice was probably when Rio and Vidic were both moved on.
Injured or moved on. And that was only for a couple of seasons.
Things started to go a little bit wrong, didn't it?
So it's very difficult with centre-backs because one of the problems is by the time you're at an age to be a top centre-back, you've probably already been moved on. Because when you get, you know, centre-backs, generally speaking, aren't even near their potential till 23, 24, 25. When's the last time you had a 24-year-old still playing in the under-23s, or, you know, your older players playing in the academy? It doesn't tend to happen. They tend to move on before that. But, you know, save for a few standouts, and hopefully he can be that. And it's great experience for him, meeting the players, and not just meeting like, oh, hi, shake hand, but becoming part of that first team, doing the travelling, going to the Lowry and staying there, and going and travelling to the game together, sitting on the bench, chatting, being in part of that experience, the half-time, all that sort of thing. Even if he doesn't get any minutes, it's invaluable experience for, you know, a footballer, obviously, but just a person generally. So, yeah, great news for him, and hopefully it can be more than just, you know, a few appearances here and there, because you'd love to see it.
There's a bit of a vibe in a minute about the academy team. I know we've just been knocked out of the FA Youth Cup, so it's not like, oh, so this is another, you know, class of 92 or class of 2011. But we do have one or two players that are getting lauded over, aren't they? You know, when you're talking about like Sir Charlie McNeil, like Sir Joe Hugill, it's like, you know, that it feels like there's Ethan Galbraith, there's at least 3 or 4 players there.
Yeah, quite a few.
That, you know, people are sort of really ambitious with, and when you speak to people around the club or who watch a lot of the youth teams over the years, they say that this is a really good crop, and we've seen that. I mean, Mason Greenwood is a prime example of someone who's, you know, he's
like the age of half of those players that are still playing.
I mean, it's just like, is that good? Brandon Williams is another one who's, you know, obviously exceeded. No, Amadale was different because we bought him, but another good young player. So there's a good sort of crop of youngsters. Will Fish is one of them, only 18 years old, in the first team squad. Hopefully we'll see him shining for Manchester United for many years to come. Shall we move on?
Yes.
We've been fined 7k for improper conduct during the UEL. That's the.
Do you know what? To me and you, £7 grand, a lot of money. To Man United, what? That's
What's
a dinner
the point
bill.
in that? €7,000 for 5 bookings.
Who's that go to? The non-profit organisation that is UEFA.
Yeah, like, what's all that about?
Oh, what are we going to do? Oh, we just got some new curtains for the offices.
Like,
fuck off, £7 grand. You know, they still only pay like 30 quid for bookings. It's the same from Premier League level to like non-league.
Is it?
Any FA club pay the same.
That's
so like your red card's 35 quid, a booking 25 quid, whatever it is. Like Kevin De Bruyne gets booked, 25 quid.
Mad, that,
what are they even?
It's
just a registration fee.
We shouldn't even be paying that. We should tell them to fuck off, because those bookings were a load of bollocks.
They were.
Yeah. Injuries and suspensions for the game, talking of which, because the ref just booked everyone that was on a yellow for United, didn't he?
That was coincidental, wasn't it?
Yeah. I don't think. United are without Eric Bailly, Marcus Rashford. Oh, no, Marcus. Luke Shaw, Harry Maguire, McTominay for the Europa League second leg faced Granada. Yep. So we're missing quite a few players there. Me and you did the preview, didn't we?
Yeah, check that if you haven't checked that already. that's obviously up on the channel, and United play tomorrow at 8, so still plenty of time to check it out. But we'll go through in a lot more detail who's available, who isn't, who we think should play, and why. Make sure you check out the preview.
Edinson Cavani.
Here we go.
He's interested in joining Rojo at Boca Juniors. Cavani's father, Louis, said in March that striker is increasingly likely to leave Manchester United in the summer. It's very roller coaster, isn't it?
I was just going to say, I don't know where I stand.
Yeah, he came in and it was like, give it to Eddie Cavani. We all loved him. He scored that brace against Southampton. Oh, this is the one, man. And then we had little bits of it, didn't we? Yeah. Then his injuries. Yeah. Then there was that ban. Yeah. And it was like, oh, what is going on? Then more injuries. He missed like 9 out of 10 games. You're like, is this even happening anymore? Does he want to be here? His dad was coming out with this sort of nonsense. Then against Spurs, you're like...
sensational.
He's fucking amazing.
Yeah. Best striker we've had in years,
yeah,
he looked like.
I think he's the best striker ever of that performance. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Mason Greenwood loves him. That's good enough for me.
He's making Mason better.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't know where you stand with him. One week you feel like, this hasn't really worked. He's been decent when he's played, but he's not played enough for whatever reason. And then games like that, and then all the stats come out. He's been involved in a goal or assist every 123 minutes, I think, for United, which is very good for a striker, especially one that's been in and out of the team for multiple different reasons. It's hard to know what's going on with him, isn't it? And if he wants to stay, hopefully he does. Hopefully we get another year out of him. But if not, what are you going to do? It's an optional year, and I don't think by the way Ollie's spoken, we ain't going to force him to do an extra year if he doesn't want to. So he may well go. But hopefully, winning a trophy, let's say we finish the league 4 points behind City, in a realm where you go, fucking hell, that was close, we aren't far off. Maybe he'll look at it and go, I've got a chance of winning the Premier League next season, I'll stick around. Maybe he will. Yeah, definitely. We're going to wrap up shortly, but give us a like. We've got about 200 odd likes, I think, and there's quite a lot of you watching. Ross Murphy in the Super Chat says, hopefully one day we'll see fish as the main course, rice as the side dish, and a lovely bit of baked beans, Marcus Rashford nickname from Lingard. That's lovely. Right? That's absolutely lovely. And I like the description of exactly who Beans is. Yeah, that's very nice. Well done there. Explaining the joke. Yeah. And this is the joke. Yeah. This is why it's funny. Yeah. I like that. And then a little Henderson's relish on top as well. Ah, eh? And then a bit of a... no. Eric Bailly sauce. Nice. Pog. Yeah, Pog. Nays. Yeah. That's really weird. Yeah. Thank you. No? All right, then, fair enough. Nays, yeah. Yeah, does that work? Yeah. Well, it's better than that bloody Pogumentary drivel they've come out with. Finally, Eric Bailly. Bailly's expected to reject a new United contract. Well, I don't blame him, to be honest with you. He's had a terrible time of it. His United career's been played... His nan? Oh, I don't blame him, to be honest. He's had a terrible time of it. There's been nothing but rude to my boy. I mean, it's not like, he's not had ample chances, he just keeps getting injured, is it? No. I mean, I love Eric Bailly, but what can you do if a player's not fit? Yeah. I mean, people go, well, Lindelof's been picked ahead of him all the time. Well, he hasn't. Like, he got picked ahead of him, I think, against the Scousers, and that was more or less it. Most of the time, Eric Bailly, when he has been fit, has had an opportunity under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But apparently he's not happy. He's ready to move on. Do you think it's time he moved on, Joseph Smith? If he's not happy, if he's not thinking, oh, I'll sign another deal, if he thinks he can get something better somewhere else, then yeah. Because the best thing about Eric Bailly, everyone seems to like his personality. Yeah. Everyone talks about being one of the funniest guys in the dressing room. But if he's not happy, he's not, enjoying things the way he seems like he is, then, what does he play? 10, 15, 20 games a season? And it's just difficult, isn't it? It's always going to be difficult when a player's sort of injured so much that even when they do get a chance, or even when they are fit, Lindelof's only just come back in. So he's not going to drop him straight away. He's allowed for other players to make partnerships ahead of him, and the ability for Lindelof to play 45, 50 games a season trumps whatever maybe 10, 15% extra quality Eric Bailly has when he's available, because he's just not available enough. So if he's not happy, then maybe it is time for him to go. Here's a stat for you. Eric Bailly came here in 2016. Yeah. He's played 100 games for Manchester United Football Club. Harry Maguire came here in 2019. Has played 102 games for Manchester United Football Club. And that isn't just Ollie not playing him, Eric Bailly. That's him not being fit. I mean, I love Eric Bailly. He's a fantastic player. He played 38 games in total in his first season, which is, good, decent. But then and almost half of all games he's played for United. Yeah. And then 18 games in total. 18 games in total. 11 games in total.
And so far this season, he's on 15 games in total, where Harry Maguire's on 47 so far this season.
He can't be playing less than 20 games.
He played 4 Premier League games last season. You can't rely on him. If you know what I mean, if he was kept fit, I think he would actually be a starting centre-back alongside Harry Maguire for Manchester United. But he's just, he's played 12 Premier League games in the last season and a half. It's just 24 over 2 seasons. It's just not enough. So if he doesn't want to stay around and try and get fit and fight for his place or whatever, then it'll be sad. And I definitely wouldn't want to see him stay in the Premier League, because if he does sort his injuries out, it'll be a fantastic defender for someone. But we wish him well. It is a bit of a shame though, because Eric Bailly is absolute comedy gold, isn't it?
Yeah, he's great.
Do you know what I mean? He's like out of context Eric Bailly and all that sort of stuff. It's like every game he seems to do something crazy, doesn't he? Like clearing the ball with his back against Palace was that one that we did.
Bicycle kick.
Bicycle kick.
Yeah. Was it dribbling past like 3 players against Chelsea?
Yeah. There's just so many different things. But unfortunately, fitness isn't one of them. We're going to wrap up there. Thanks to everyone who got involved in the chat and in the comments. Loads of good stuff there as well.
Man City.
What?
Man City.
I'd forgotten about that.
I keep getting like waves of they're going to the quadruple.
Just focus. How did the Scousers get on?
They're out, are they? Liverpool are out at least, aren't they? Yeah, Liverpool are out.
There you go. Hey, do you remember when they said that was the greatest Premier League team of all time?
Well, they'll change their mind. It'll be this one.
And now it's like, oh, you've been knocked out of the Champions League in what are we in the quarterfinals?
Yeah. And
you're currently, where are they? Hang on a minute. I'll bring you up 6th in the Premier League. So it's not even the greatest Premier League team of like the last few years. It's just overrated nonsense as usual from the Scousers. Yeah, and City against PSG. Oh, it's just the billionaires' derby, really, isn't it? So we'll leave them to that. It's all about the Europa. We'll be here with that tomorrow. Who is it? It's not
me, Adam McCullough, and you.
It's me, innit? It's me, you, and Adam McCullough. So make sure you check that out. As Joe said as well, we've done a preview. Go and have a look at that. If you're not looking at our members section, go and have a look over there. There's some great new content, and as well as some discounts on merchandise and all that stuff. Joe, where can people find you?
Joe Smith 93, Instagram and Twitter, please.
Find him on the Twitter. You know where to find me. This has been Stretford Paddock Transfers Live. Thanks for watching.